It would not be a NBA January trade window without the usual rumors flying about in the air, with the latest saying that the New Orleans Pelicans have been trying to acquire CJ McCollum and that he just might be willing to make the move as well. With less than a week remaining till the trade deadline elapses, teams have stepped up their efforts to bring in their desired targets within this time frame. What remains to be seen is how many will be successful. Today's video will be discussing the CJ McCollum to New Orleans Pelicans trade rumors. Stay tuned. First, McCollum to the Pelicans. Languishing in the lowly 11th place in the Western Conference standings, the Pelicans from New Orleans are, if reports are to be believed, trying to reinforce their lines with the help of some good trade deals in a bid to restore some of their lost pride and make a decent attempt at a comeback into the playoff spots before the February 10 trade deadline elapses. According to basketball analyst Brian Windhorst of ESPN, the Pelicans are in the market to trade for a guard who comes with a big reputation. And as things stand, CJ McCollum, De'Aaron Fox, and Eric Gordon appear to be the names matching their requirements. There have been consistent reports and rumors about the Pelicans' plans before the trade deadline comes around, and the general consensus says that the man behind this pursuit appears to be none other than David Griffin, the executive vice president of basketball operations. Michael Scotto, another NBA writer, has said that rival teams' executives around the NBA are of the opinion that Pelican players Jackson Hayes and Nickeil Alexander-Walker could be considered for an upgrade in the team lineup, with both having sufficient experience and quality under their belts. Seems to be good news for the Pelicans, who, according to Scotto, are much more welcome to the idea of moving on from Nickeil Alexander-Walker than they were in the past. These certain reports have coincided with a time when Zion Williamson's status this season is up in the air and clouded with uncertainty. Windhorst has said that it is particular that when the Pelicans were supposed to have already provided an update on Williams's surgically operated right foot last week, there seems to be radio silence on their end and no details forthcoming. Apart from McCollum, out of Eric Gordon and De'Aaron Fox, Gordon certainly appears to be the easier one to acquire. Not only is he the oldest of the three potential targets, but he's playing for the Houston Rockets at a time when they seem to be planning ahead and are in the initial stages of a long-term rebuild phase. According to Scotto, Gordon is apparently up on the market, with the Rockets looking to get a first-round pick for him. Gordon, who won the 6th Man of the Year award in 2017, is at present averaging an unimpressive 14.3 points per game, shooting .420 on three-point shooting in 44 games. Jake Fisher, considered one of the finest writers on NBA, has come up with an intricate, long drawn-out way by which it will become easier for the Portland TrailBlazers to part with McCollum and conversely easier for the Pelicans to acquire him. He believes that as Anthony Simmons' star is on the rise, the Blazers will have a talented long-term replacement for McCollum. In fact, for whom the Blazers might be able to get Josh Hart and or Jonas Valanciunas, with which the Blazers will have acquired a replacement for the center position with Jusuf Nurkic, linked to a move away from the Blazers. There'd be just one thing that would complicate things, that the Pelicans do value Valanciunas and might much more be willing to part with Hayes or Tomas Satoransky than him. McCollum is currently averaging a generous return of 20.7 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game from his 34 starts this season. He's been shooting .401 on three-pointers with an average of 8 attempts per game. De'Aaron Fox has been a name that's been brought up frequently in trade rumors, mostly involving the Philadelphia 76ers and their disgruntled star Ben Simmons. 24-year-old is in the first season of a 5-year contract worth $163 million that he signed in November. He does seem to have been given the Sacramento Kings a return on their investment, as he leads the team in scoring average, coming up with a decent 21.0 points per game. So what makes the deal feasible? Portland TrailBlazers have reportedly put McCollum on the trade block for sure, with some reliable sources stating that the Blazers executives right now continue to consider McCollum as a negative asset as the trade deadline approaches. Blazers' recent run of form has provided them with a 2-game cushion for the final play-in spot, and hence avoiding the luxury tax while at the same time receiving some sort of a compensation for a guard who's not getting any younger. Appears to be the favorable option for them. Most of the people expected the Blazers to most certainly be among some of the most active teams in the trade market for this season, and yet somehow that's not been the case. And like the rest of the league, Joe Cronin, the interim general manager, has maintained his silence initially after it was reported that Nurkic and McCollum would not be traded. The Blazers fans had all but given up hope on seeing a renewed team core focused around their superstar Damian Lillard. Yet, with the New Orleans Pelicans starting to reignite potential trade talks around McCollum, fans can still hope. Eric Pincus, a seasoned NBA writer, said that the Pelicans front office currently considers McCollum as the perfect third wheel for their young upcoming duo consisting of Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. McCollum's experience, coupled with his ability to create space and chances for himself and for others off of the dribble, would be a much needed balance to the Pelicans' much more aggressive brute force based front court play. Due to his progressing age, along with his relatively small stature, McCollum might not be considered as a valuable guard anymore. But while he seems not to be the ideal piece to complete the trio next to Ingram and Zion, it is his much more affordable price tag that makes him a much more realistic target should the Pelicans decide to restructure their game core around their young stars. Now in other NBA trade rumors, controversy around James Harden's trade. Should James Harden, the Brooklyn Nets superstar, end up in Philadelphia? NBA league sources have reportedly said that teams in the NBA would consider demanding the league to open up an investigation into any deal that sees James Harden move to the 76ers. The trifecta of Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Harden has massively underdelivered considering the potential that most people clearly see in this trio, which is why Harden is apparently seeking to switch to Philadelphia. What seems to be one of the major reasons for reports linking Harden to the 76ers is unsurprisingly because of his close friendship with their president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey, developed in their time together at the Houston Rockets. Seems to be adding fuel to the fires that Morey is not the only link Harden has to the 76ers, but that he is reportedly somehow also friends with the 76ers co-owner, Michael Rubin. According to sources close to the NBA top brass, quite a few of the NBA team's executives have reason to believe that there are currently ongoing talks between the Nets superstar and the 76ers with a potential offseason move on the agenda. This sort of a situation is actually something that could be considered player tampering in accordance with the NBA regulations and may very likely merit an investigation should the deal go through. Is Harden unhappy or not? The February 10 trade deadline is fast approaching and the spotlight is seemingly back on the alleged link between Harden and the 76ers and what they might have in store with the whole Ben Simmons situation. Their star player, who has become disgruntled, Simmons, since having asked for a trade away from the 76ers, is yet to make an appearance this season. Yet, unfortunately for him, so far the Sixers have not received a trade offer they would deem sufficient enough to send him out. Harden, on the other hand, might just be the solution to both Simmons and the 76ers' problem, as he is the level of player that the 76ers are hoping to acquire before letting Simmons go. Fisher has actually come out with a report that says Harden might not be happy with the Nets and might be looking for a challenge elsewhere with a change of teams on his mind. And despite Harden disputing the contents of the report, Fisher is not the only one in the NBA community who has reason to believe that this might just be the reality of the situation. And that's a wrap for this video. Will we see the Blazers part with CJ McCollum before the deadline elapses, or will it be one of numerous failed deals? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.